All right, so let's get started. Welcome to our Canvas Teacher Webinar Series, Session 2, that is focused on Canvas assignments. Let's just do some quick introductions. My name is Alana Purvis, and I am an Ed Specialist for the Virtual Learning and Instructional Tech team, focusing specifically on Canvas. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague in this work, Kelly Brown.
Hi, everyone. Kelly Brown, Ed Specialist, Virtual Learning Instructional Tech, also working on Canvas. We are so happy to have you here and happy to support you with your Canvas journey. I'll pass it over to our partner in crime, Mark Slesky.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Slesky. I work for Instructure, the company that makes Canvas, and am supporting Baltimore City for the second year. Looking forward to helping you get your Canvas rolling, and I'll hand things off to Parth.
So, hello everyone. I'm Parth Sanghvi. I am a teacher, like many of us. So I teach at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, and I'm here to talk a little bit about some of the specific ways that we can use assignments and things in our classes using Canvas. So, should I do that now or should I wait?
Just like one more moment.
Yep, no worries.
Thank you. And just so everyone knows, if you are new here to our webinar series, this is indeed a webinar. This is not your traditional session, so you will see that some of your features are disabled. But I want to call attention to the Q&A tab that's there. There's time at the end for us to ask, for you to ask some questions and for us to answer them. But let's go ahead and move into our community agreements for today. And I want you all to hold the fourth one very close, to have a growth mindset and give yourself grace, right? This is a new initiative. This is a new learning platform. But if you keep yourself postured in the space of being able to learn more and being able to grow, you're going to be just fine. All right. So again, drop those questions in the chat if you have them. All right, and our focus question for today is how can Canvas assignments help you engage your students in rigorous instruction? Parth just introduced himself a moment ago, but Parth is our teacher bright spot for this month, and we are so happy to have him here. So I'm going to stop sharing and let the expert on the ground take it away.
Thank you. There we go. So, welcome. So, good afternoon. So, I'm going to try to use my time well here. So, I wanted to show us a little bit about what does it look like to actually have a class that you use. And sometimes I think it can be really easy to get kind of blown away with all the different bells and whistles, but trying to keep it simple for yourself, but then also for your students to be able to access. So here you can kind of see how I set up my class. I have my modules, I have my pages and assignments within them. So I can answer questions about that specifically later at the end. But I am here specifically to talk about assignments today. And one thing that I just want to highlight for all of us as we try to figure out, once you figure out you feel like you found your flow and you like the way that something is formatted, you can always use the little skinny snowman over here and duplicate your assignments and then edit from there so that you have less to do each time. So going into my specific assignment for the one that I am sharing, which is my lesson 1.2, day one. So I'm going to edit this so that we can see some of the things that went into it, right? So this is the way that I personally like to set up my assignments. So I try to make it super clear at the top what kids need to do and submit. And the way that I have it set up is that you would click a link and that takes you to a Google document. And if you're not aware, one thing that you can do is if you have a Google document that's set up so that anyone with a link can view it, Then if you go over here to the URL and you remove this part, everything that after the edit part, and you hit change that to just be copy, then whenever anyone hits this link, it'll ask them to make a copy of the document and not actually look at the document itself. So that's a good way to force your kids to make copies of Google Docs if you need them to. But then the students were using that handout, and then I also attached a bunch of different references here. So in terms of this is a link to a PDF article that is linked in the course itself. So I made sure to set it as a preview in overlay so that they'll be able to see it like in the assignment itself instead of having to um, go somewhere else to see it. And then I have videos embedded in here using our Canvas Studio. So if you remember from some of the trainings that you guys did, if you go to Canvas Studio, you can import videos from YouTube. So if you go to Create and you go to Add Media, you can add videos from YouTube, and then you can embed them here in the assignment. So if kids need to watch them, they don't have to deal with YouTube ads, and they don't have to deal with all of the different comments and things on YouTube that sometimes give away answers to things that you want them to think about on their own. So that's also a nice little benefit. So you set points, whatever category you want it to be in. And then I have mine set up as a file upload so that students will upload their Google document that they made. You can decide how many attempts that you want it to be. And then I have my class set up so that I teach on a block schedule, so I teach A days and B days. So depending on which day that I see the students, they have different due dates. So the due dates are set up to they're broken down based on which class has which due date. So you are able to set that up. And if you have students that need extra time, you can add that in as a possibility of like setting an assignment and then having it go to a specific student and then give them a different due date in case you need to. Good. And then I'm going to show one last thing. So I'm going to go to view as student. Okay. So see, this is what my assignment looks like for my student, right? I can see all the same things that I saw before. And then just as a quick note, if you are interested, this is the new view of Canvas, which might look slightly different than your students. It's one of the options that you can enable. But if your kids are wondering, how do I submit Google Docs if I don't know how to do that? All you have to do is go up to here, the three dots, hit more. You can go to Google Assignments. You can hit Select File. And then you can find whatever thing that you're trying to attach from your Google Drive. It will attach, and then there you go. And then the student can submit the assignment. They'll get their confetti, maybe. Oh, no confetti this time. But maybe you'll get confetti when you submit it. But then that will know, then the student can know I submitted it, and they can even see what they submitted. So, and that's it. So I wanted to try to use my time well. So if you have questions, I will make sure to check them out in the Q&A section, and I'll talk about them at the end as well. So I'm going to stop sharing now.
Thank you so much, Parth. I hope you found that helpful to see on the ground what an assignment setup could look like from a fellow teacher here in City Schools. So now that you see the finished product and the steps that Parth took to create that assignment, Mark is now going to do a live demo focused specifically on creating those assignments and then also getting into SpeedGrader. All right, so take it away, Mark.
Thank you very much, Alana. Let me just move my screens for just a second here. Alrighty, so we're going to do a full 360-degree view. We're going to go ahead and build out a quick assignment. we'll actually go in as a practice student, submit an assignment, and then we'll go back as the teacher and we'll take a look at that submitted work. We'll provide some feedback, we'll give it a score, and we will move on our day. I'm going to build off of some of the awesomeness that Parth shared. What I like to do and what the district has provided is not build from scratch all the time and be able to recycle some of the goodness that has been delivered to you. Regardless of what subject you teach, you have received some type of blueprint. It might be a basic template, it might be curricular content. Somewhere in either your sandbox or one of your curriculum classes, you are going to have a module that is going to be preloaded with templates of assignments and discussions and quizzes and pages. And one of those activities is an individual assignment. And I'm just going to keep it nice and easy. I'm just going to come over and just like Parth said, I'm going to find that skinny snowman. And of course it ran on me. Going to give it a click for the individual assignment and I'm going to select duplicate. And that is going to give me my duplicate copy right over here. I can then either move it to another place by selecting Move To, or I can just come over to the left-hand side where the 8 little dots are. I call that the egg carton, and I can just grab the egg carton and I can just move it wherever I need to. I created a brand new module for the webinar specifically, and think of modules basically as folders, and we've dropped an assignment into our module folder. When I give that assignment a click, the first thing I'm going to see is my summary screen. It's going to show me what my students are going to see in terms of directions. So we've got our assignment overview. We've got some instructions that we can go ahead and edit, and we will soon. And we've got some technical support with a link for going to the community for an article to help students if they need a little bit of help in how to turn in an assignment. The other part of the summary screen that it's going to show is it's going to show how many points is the assignment worth. In this case, it's worth 15 points. How are we submitting this assignment? At the moment, we're not submitting the assignment at all. And right now it is available for everyone in my course. The other thing that I'm going to have on my summary screen is I'm going to have the ability to create a rubric. I'm going to get rid of this one just for fun right now. So generally we'll see it like this, our summary screen. We'll see whatever is in our rich content editor. We'll see the details of the assignment, point value, how students are going to turn the work in, and then things like due dates and who it's assigned to. And then we have our plus rubric option. So if we do want to attach a rubric to an assignment, this is where we will either build or upload the rubric. If you already have rubrics built out, we can always find that rubric that you've built. If we want to build a rubric from scratch, we can just very quickly, we have one row right here with either a 5 or a 0. If we want to add columns, we just need to give it a little space. And now we've got 5, 3, and 0. Or if we want to keep going, I like to build out the cells first and then come back in with the title and the description. But now we've got a row going from 5 to 0. If I want to add another criteria, I can do that by clicking Add Criteria, and I can just duplicate it. And we've got our second row if we need it. And then I can also build out from scratch. And they don't have to all be the same amount of cells. If I wanted to create a rubric worth, in this case, 15 points, but maybe this bottom cell just has either full marks or no marks, that's no problem at all. The one thing I do want to call out, the fourth checkbox from the bottom, use this rubric for assignment grading. If we do want to use this rubric for grading, make sure we have that checked. Then once we're done, we'll just call this our webinar rubric. And we'll go ahead and create it now that it's been built. Now it's attached to our assignment, and we are ready to keep on building. We're going to click the edit to get into the build engine of the assignment. And I'm going to build on a little bit more of what Parth was saying earlier on, and give you a little hack that I've found. So in the rich content editor, if you want to share something from your drive, we've got our Google Drive and our O365 drive. If it's not located right on the tray here, it's going to be sitting in this little 1980s looking plug. Those are our embedded learning tool integrations, LTIs, and that's where we will find that Google Drive. So if I wanted to share something that's in my Google Drive, one of the great things that it's going to do, I don't have to change my view or my accessibility to my students. Canvas knows when I put it into the rich content editor, make it view only. So I'm going to go ahead, in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and select my private drive. I'll select that file. It'll open up my private drive. I'll find something and add that in. And notice attaching this file will change the sharing setting and allow anyone with the link to access it. So I don't have to go into the doc. All I got to do is just get it into the rich content editor. And now that doc is ready to go. It's ready to be shared. I can adjust it because I'm the owner of the doc, but my students or anyone else that's accessing this, it's view only to them. So I'll fill in, I'll edit all the good stuff that is happening in my rich content editor. I'll scroll down here. We'll make sure that in this case, since I am using that rubric, it's worth 15 points. So I'll keep that as 15. This is going to be critical. Make sure that your assignment group matches one of the 4 categories in Infinite Campus. If you're moving content from course to course, that content will move assignment groups. So if I built an assignment and I built that assignment as a formative assessment in one of my courses, and I then copied this assignment into another one of my classes, this assignment in that other class will show up as an imported assignment. And we'll need to remember to go back in and adjust it where it should be. Assignments have to be in one of the 4 IC categories for GradeSync to work. So this is an absolutely critical step. In terms of display grades, we recommend either sticking with points, percentages, or complete or incomplete. The big one for us to consider is submission type. How are the students going to turn in the work? Even if you don't want to collect work, even if you're not going to collect work in Canvas, you can still create an assignment. Maybe I want my students making a little, like a poster or something like that. Obviously, they're not going to turn that in online. I might create an on-paper assignment. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me a column in the Canvas gradebook for this activity. And it's also telling Canvas, you're not expecting students to submit anything. So it's giving us that column. Now, if we do want students to turn something in, more often than not, we're going to choose the online option. And I default to the file upload. The file upload will give my students the ability to upload, obviously, a file, but it will also give them access into their media library. It'll give them access to their Google Drive, and it'll even give them access to a text entry. So as long as we're checking file upload, in effect, it's giving us these other options. So my default for assignments when I want students to submit work to me is going to be a file upload. The other option I did want to call out, if you had a worksheet that you wanted students to fill out, that's where student annotation would go. And we would find that worksheet. I'm just going to find something random. And now my students will receive a copy of that screenshot that they'll be able to edit. And we'll take a look at what that looks like right now. Additionally, we'll want to include the assignment's grades, and we'll want to make sure that we have a due date set. And then at that point, I'm going to click Save and Publish. And then I'm going to go back to my module because I'm not yet able to see this as a student because I believe, yep, that module is going to be unpublished as well. So I'm going to publish that module also. And now if I view it as a student, we're going to see that we have that student annotation assignment ready to go. So I'm going to click on that individual assignment. Here is our rich content editor. Here's our embedded doc. Here's our instructions. And then here is our student annotation piece. I can go in. We're going to pretend this is a worksheet. Set that. I can go ahead and type whatever it is I want to type. I can go ahead and circle things. Lots of different things that I can do. Pin feature. And when I am done, I can submit that assignment. I also see my rubric as a student. I get a little bit of confetti because I turned it in on time. Because I'm able to turn in more than one attempt, I could start a new attempt if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave my student view. And now, if you notice, we're back into that summary screen. But now Canvas is letting me know up here on the right, hey, you have a little bit of work to do as the teacher. You have a submission that you need to grade. So I can click into SpeedGrader. And here is the assignment that my test student just turned into me. I have the same tools up above, so I can go in and I can, do the same circling and leave the same feedback. I can highlight things, I can make all the magic happen. What I can also do is readjust my screen. I can view my rubric that I created, and I can evaluate just like that. And now we've got 12 points out of 15. I can give individual feedback for each of those rows if I wanted to. I'll go ahead and save that. Just move, sorry, one of my Zoom thing is in the way. I have the ability to add additional comments. And then when I'm done, I can go on to my next student. So this is really a great way for us to be able to provide dynamic and robust feedback to our students. And go right back to my assignment here. And very quickly, I know I am very short on time. We're going to edit. We're going to change the submission style from the student annotation. We're going to go to that other option, that file upload, just to see what that experience is like. Going to save that and then jump into student view, and we're going to resubmit. So I'm going to do a new attempt. Now notice it's a little different. I have access to my Google Drive. I have access to my OneDrive. I have access to my Studio. I even have Canva for education available to me, or I can upload whatever it is I need to upload. Let me find something that's not going to get me in trouble. We'll upload that and submit. And then let's see what that looks like. So again, one of the things I always call out, and I used to always tell my students, check that upper right-hand side. If you don't see the check mark and submit it and the timestamp, I didn't get your work. So now as I leave student view, we're going to go back to SpeedGrader. I will see the latest submission. So the last submission that my test student sent me was this. If I wanted to see the previous submission, I do have that ability, and everything is timestamped, and it'll tell me, wait a second, this isn't the most recent submission. But I can go in if I want to regrade this, I can go ahead and do that and adjust the scores as necessary. And that, in a nutshell, and probably going way too fast, is a quick overview of both assignments and the grading feature or the grading tool that we have with assignments, SpeedGrader. And with that, I will hand it back to Alana.
All right. Thank you, Parth and Mark. We're going to move into, well, two things. First, Kelly's going to drop in the chat a link to our VIT Google site. Kelly, do you want to talk about it briefly?
Yeah, so this is a site for teacher support, student support, and how to submit assignments, things like that. Information around the mobile app, and then just general Canvas support. The website is updated bi-weekly, and if you have topics you would like to see or videos you would like to add to the site, my email address is on the site as well, and I will share my email address in the chat.
Thank you,
But I
Kelly.
dropped the
Thank you
link.
for those resources. In addition to always the resources that are available in your global navigation menu in Canvas. All right. Awesome. So we've got a few minutes here for Q&A. Please drop those questions in the Q&A chat here. We've got one here. I'll let Kelly guide us through.
All right. So the first question from Ryan. Can I grade an assignment in Canvas even if a student did not submit the assignment through Canvas?
Yes.
All right.
The answer is yes. So this is what I do with if students are taking a quiz in class, then I will put the grades into Canvas and then it'll sync to Infinite Campus. So it's nice for the students to be able to see or at least have everything live in one place. So that's what I like to do.
Yeah. And you have when you're creating the assignment, when it says submission type, you can put no submission, meaning they're not submitting anything in Canvas, and then you put the grade in, or you can do like on paper. Both of those options are there for you as well. And let's see, I don't see any other questions, but thank you, Ryan, for that question. Any other questions?
I did want to call since we have a minute. For those of you that did want to give a copy of a cloud activity, it's like a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, a Google Slide, and give students their own copy. Parth did show how you can change the URL to do copy. The other option you can do is for submission type online, and then you can choose external tools. And then it'll give you a list of the tools, and you're going to find the Google LTI, and it'll walk you through the process. And then when you go through the process, the end result will be that Canvas will generate a copy, an individualized copy for each student in your course that they can then work on and then click a button to submit back.
I had two questions come in the chat, and I just want to answer it again, just in case some of you missed it. Yes, you will have a link sent to you on Monday via the announcement feature in ClickUp. So make sure you're checking or have your notifications turned on in ClickUp or check ClickUp. You will have a link to this recording. It'll be on our VIT YouTube site. Okay. All right, and you're welcome. It is 4:30 on the dot, and so we want to be respectful of time. So looking ahead, thank you so much for joining us today. Our next webinar series will be on November 19th from 4 to 4:30. How can Canvas quizzes and rubrics help you monitor progress and provide feedback? So that is where we are going to be heading at our next webinar series. Please take a moment to complete the CickUp survey about this webinar series session. Again, keep your eyes peeled for that video to be shared with you on Monday. And we hope to see you here on November 19th. Thank you so much again to Parth for being our teacher bright spot this month. Who knows, you could be here next. Reach out to us if you're interested. Take care, everybody.
Mm.